More than once, I have seen comments about the north and south node of the moon, Rahu and Ketu in Vedic, dragon's head, dragon's tail in the Western system. There's the south node, there's the north node. They're currently transiting in super early Cancer. They move backward across the zodiac, so they're going to be going into Gemini shortly. And because around election time they are right next to where they were at his birth point, some people theorize this may be a great asset to Trump around the election to help him win. I am skeptical about this. I honestly don't see how that works. My experience of nodes across the years in transit is that I don't use them very much in that sense because I don't find that I can trust what they're pointing to. There is a general sense that the sign they're transiting through is emphasized by way of the things the person is interested in at the time and is growing through, or perhaps you could even say has an obsession with, because that is what nodes tend to do. They create a excessive focus in some arena or other, but I cannot say the north or south node goes through a planet and necessarily find that it points to anything meaningful. So for that reason, I would not place a lot of stock in the fact that the node is returning around that time. In fact, you could ask yourself, if that's meaningful, then how do you explain that they were in Virgo over here, not doing anything in particular when he was elected in 16? And why are they now suddenly so meaningful? The other thing is, if you look at the transit situation, all of these planets are basically very difficult for him at election time. The three planet Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto transiting through those Capricorn degrees is extremely negative, especially Saturn, which is probably the nail in the coffin, the absolute worst planet to have this close to an opposition right at election time. But then you have Uranus in an irritating semi-sesqui square. You have Neptune, extremely problematic. It makes a station squaring his moon and is effectively locked into that transit, still carries over into the election. This planet, as I've said a number of times, connects to popularity, and it's absolutely lethal in terms of the negative effect on a politician. And then you have the planetoid Chiron perhaps not being that important, but also part of the dance. And Eris, the trans-Neptunian out beyond Pluto, is catastrophically bad, though we do have to say it's been like that for a while, so that's just more of the same story. But nevertheless, the whole thing is very negative. And then you have the node, and then you can say, well, maybe the node means something. I would say it means something bad, because the node tends to be a karmic point, the coming together of karma. It has a kind of a Saturn feel. I would never associate the nodes with Jupiter, for example. They're far more of a Saturnian point. And Saturn can be good when things are going quite well. And even then, you don't want it too close. You want it sort of in the general vicinity, but never too close, because it's too negative an effect if it's too close. So I would not think of the node at that time being helpful to Trump in terms of being reelected. My feeling is that it's just part of the entire picture at that time that is quite negative indeed.